Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. My name's Coach Jason. I want to thank Hybrid Running for having me today and to give some insights. I'm a former competitive runner at the high school, college, and post-collegiate level, and I'm a current coach of the last 2 decades and I have coached at the high school, college, and post-collegiate level as well. My focus now is coaching mostly post-collegiate athletes, and I have several dozen of them that I work with, from middle distance races all the way up to the marathons of all different levels. I'm also a YouTuber, and I have my own YouTube running channel. It's dedicated to training programs, fully detailed across the board for middle distance races, cross country, workouts galore, all the way up to the marathon. So if you want to look at some detailed training programs that you can use as a template to follow yourself or to modify into your own, this channel's for you. It's going to be linked down below, so I hope that you'll check it out. But again, I want to thank Hybrid Running for having me today, and I have some questions that they want me to answer. So with that said, let's get to them. Okay. So the first one is, when did I start running? I actually started running my junior year of high school, in the 11th grade. And the reason why is I played baseball growing up. And through, as a youngster, to middle school, and even high school, I played baseball. And I was a huge baseball fan. And I still am a huge baseball fan. But one day I was running, we had a 1-mile test in gym class, just to test everybody's fitness. And I remember that day because the track coach and cross country coach at the time was my gym teacher. And I ran a 5:12 for that mile. And he immediately pulled me aside and he's like, Jason, you have the ability to probably do, to run well, to be a pretty solid runner if you apply yourself and if you come on for the team. And it took a little bit of nudges and a couple of conversations, but he finally convinced me to move on from baseball and to give cross country and track a full try. And that's exactly what I did. Now, I was eager and young. I wanted to be as fast as everybody else, and I unfortunately had to learn the hard way in the beginning, but that's okay. It's part of the learning process. But once I started running, and I never looked back. So it became a big part of my life, and today it still is. Next question. How do I prepare for a race? Well, this has evolved over 2 decades plus as well. Initially, I used to just do, we used to follow the team protocol, which is a warm-up jog and then a static stretch, and then a couple of drills and strides and whatever else, and then you get ready to race. Over the years, I discovered the active isolated flexibility routine by Jim and Phil Wharton when I was in college, at Penn Relays actually, and it changed my life. And I've never looked back since then. And now my routine is different. And I'm really thankful for it. And this is something that I teach all my athletes. I encourage them to do themselves. So now the routine is essentially a 15 to 20 minute active isolated stretching routine. And I am a Wharton certified musculoskeletal therapist over the past 20 years. I'm also a USATF certified coach. So it's a 15 to 20 minute warm-up routine, warm-up stretching routine. And this is active. So what it does is it gets the blood flowing. It gets the body temperature up in the muscles to help get them ready for activity. That's where it differs from a static stretch. The static stretches are not running specific. This active routine is running specific. You'll also see a couple of videos of that on my channel as well. And then after the stretching routine, a 15 to 20 minute warm-up jog, okay, and then some plyometrics and drills, and a couple of strides, and then I actually sit down for about 5 minutes or so just to kind of visualize the race, meditate a little bit to kind of get the heart rate down, get the body relaxed, and then about 5 to 7 minutes before the race, do one or two last strides, and then it's rock and roll time. So that's the warm-up routine. Again, yours can be different, but I found this to be a highly effective routine in that particular order. I think I encourage you to consider it. At the very least, watch that active isolated stretching video, because I think it'll work wonders for you. Third question: how do I stay nutritionally healthy? This is something that I've kind of evolved with over time as well. I've got to the point now where I obsess with certain. Over the years, I obsessed with certain things, and I was too heavy on this, too heavy on that. Um, where I realized over years and years of experience with not only myself or my athletes is it's important to have a balance. Okay, healthy eating is across the board. That's obvious, but there is a little bit of room for a cheat day or some snacks or sweets or something like that. I don't feel like you have to obsess with just eating organic or healthy food all the time. Okay, the way I look at it too is if you look at a supermarket. Okay, everything your body needs for the most part is on the outer part of the supermarket. You got your meats, your dairies, your vegetables, your fruits. A lot of the stuff your body needs on the outside. A lot of the stuff it doesn't need is in the aisles. So it's kind of a different way of thinking about it, with the exception of a few things, beans and other things like that. But most of the stuff that your body needs is on the outside. I try to be as efficient as I can. I try to eat regularly. Oh, actually, I do eat regularly. And it's important on both ends, too, to not only fuel in the morning, but to fuel post-run or post-workout as well to help speed up the recovery process. But if I can, recommend a few things, it would be a colorful plate, fruits and vegetables, your lean meats, your fishes, your chickens, um, your lean red meats, particularly grass-fed or organic if you can. They're a little bit more expensive, but I think it's important to have a balance of the two, particularly for muscle repair, post-workout muscle repair. Lean meats are good, and then you combine them with vegetables. You have your starches, your carbs, your fats. Um, the more colorful your plates are, the better off you'd be. And even for drinking, I mean, lots of water obviously to stay hydrated, but other drinks as well. You can have some drinks with a little bit of sugar in them as well, but I would avoid going excessive on the sugary drinks, obviously, because it can be counterproductive to your running. So that's how I answer that question. Next question: how do I recover after a run? So this is an interesting question, a good question. So it kind of evolved over time too, and I kind of teach my athletes this too. Recovering post-run, there's a lot of things leading up to it. Okay, not only is nutrition important, but so is sleep. Okay, sleep makes sure that you're recovering properly, all throughout the day and throughout the course of a training period, which can be long. Particularly if you're training for a marathon, it can be 12, 16, 20 weeks, or 5K. It doesn't really matter. If you're sleeping consistently, then you're going to recover consistently. There's no magic formula. You can't sleep, 12 hours the night before a race and expect to be on the go. It's not the way it works. Consistency is key, and I know, consistency is sometimes a difficult thing to adapt because there's so many different moving parts in training. But if you simplify things, and you kind of become a consistent good sleeper, it will tie into the other things that you do. But with regards to post recovery, 30 to 40 minutes fuel back into the body after a run or a long run or a workout or a race of some sort, or after you're cooled down after a race. Whether it be protein, chocolate milk, bagel, banana, fruit. If you get something in your body, it'll help make sure that you're recovering efficiently. After that, I encourage a brief or an abbreviated active isolated stretching routine if you have the time to do it. It could be 5 to 10 minutes, but it will be a well-invested 5 to 10 minutes. It can help flush out lactic in your legs, help speed up the recovery process for the next day. And if you do have time, whether in the day or later at night, after a long run or a hard workout or a race, if you can hop in an ice bath 1 or 2 times a week to help speed up the recovery in the legs, reduce inflammation, I highly encourage you to do that too. Ice baths are a very good thing post workout. So those are the things I recommend. Last question. Do I have any tips for new beginner runners? Actually, this is something that this is another good question. Some of the things that I've learned over time, and I mentioned it before. Consistency. Consistency is a part of the puzzle. So is patience. They don't always work well together. Because as eager runners, and we want to hop in and we want to run fast, we want to do well. So there's a tendency sometimes to maybe do too much or go too fast or do things too soon, which can get you into a little bit of trouble or to put you at risk of getting sick or injured or both. So if you learn how to mix the two together, just be patient and let the process happen. You will be better at enjoying the process. Okay, I know myself personally, I haven't been the most patient person. I've always, as an athlete, I always wanted immediate results, and I had to learn the hard way sometimes as well. As a coach, I'm a lot more patient, and it's something that I emphasize to athletes. Just learn how to enjoy the process, because I'll say this, getting fit is the toughest part. Once you're fit, it's awesome. Okay, and it takes that, consistency and the little things, your strength training, your flexibility, your rest, to help you not only get fit but to stay fit. Okay, and once you stay fit, you start to be able to do things that you weren't able to do before. You better workouts, better runs, quicker recovery. You'll run really well, or on a day where you feel just awful. And which boils back to in the beginning, just being consistent, letting your body adapt. I recommend periodization, which is 21 to 28 day block of training to allow the body to adapt to a certain stimulus of training. I talk about this in my videos down below as well. So I highly encourage you to take a look at my channel. I go into detail of everything, and I explain everything, so that you can kind of set yourself up for success. Also, for beginner runners, after about 6 to 8 weeks running, I do encourage folks to do a 1 mile time trial to test their fitness. It gives you a lot of data, and what it can do is it can not only tell you your fitness for some of the shorter races, but some of the longer races, but it'll give you an idea of whether you need to improve your aerobic capacity in some workouts or some way, if you need to incorporate speed development. But it also helps you set the appropriate training paces so that you're progressing at the rate you should be progressing at. So if you're a 4-hour marathoner, you're not going to recover the same way as 3-hour marathoners and 3:30s and so on. So it's important to be training at your paces and not someone else's. And the same applies to them. It's important for them to be training at their paces and not yours. And that's a great way of kind of making sure that you're progressing, staying healthy, okay, and putting yourself in a position to be successful. So those are the things I recommend for new runners. Just enjoy the process. Embrace the grind, embrace the pain and the suffering. It's part of the process too, but it's a good pain, and if you're patient enough to allow yourself to get fit, once you're fit, you're going to be real happy. So being patient and being consistent are the two things that I highly encourage you to incorporate into your running life and just your life in general and your running training philosophy. So that's how I answer that question. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope my questions were helpful. My answers were helpful. I want to thank Hybrid Running again for having me. Make sure you subscribe to Hybrid Running. This is a great up-and-coming new channel. Make sure you like their videos as well. And please hop over to my YouTube channel, Blackbelt Running Coach 447, and take a look at my videos. And please click the like button. And make sure you hit the notification in case if you want to continue watching great videos. I put out a couple new ones every week. For your enjoyment and for your education. And as a coach, I learn from my athletes just as much as they learn from me. So my goal with my channel is to give as much back to the running community as possible. And you don't have to be, a world-class athlete to benefit. This training programs that I put forward and this training philosophy, workouts, and all different types of things are applicable to everybody, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So hope that you'll go check it out. And again, thanks again, Hybrid Running, for having me. And look out for each other. Be safe, everybody. Be healthy, and enjoy the run.